Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King and this is the all-new VW Passat. And it's an estate.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night?
So here at the front, it's been given the same treatment we first saw on the Mark 8 Golf. So you have a kind of wider, more squashed, aggressive face. A couple of little details that I quite like though. There is a camera here hidden inside the badge, so it's not sticking out anywhere awkwardly, but that does mean that your radar stuff has been pushed here in the grille where it is slightly conspicuous. It's a nice lattice work grille though, little squat light bar along the front. And this is an R-Line, hence it's not a full R car before you get too excited. But I think the main thing we need to concentrate on this car is its profile. As you can see, this really is the longest of boys. It's basically 5 meters long, just under, and long roof only. So I know I've already said this is an estate, and obviously it is, you can see it, but this is the only variant of the Passat from now on. No more hatchback saloon thing, which personally I prefer the estate, so I'm fine with that. You've got these lovely diamond cut alloy wheels here. These are 18 inches, so you still get a good bit of tyre wall. Lots of black treatment on this R-Line model to make it look a bit sporty. Love it in this red as well, really pops in the sunlight. And then round here we have another light bar to match the one at the front with your VW badge again. Passat written out on the boot lid in black text, as this is the R-Line. And then down here you have some matching lattice work grille to balance off the front, except this is false. This is just plastic, but it does help visually. I'm not a massive fan of fake plastic on cars. I'd prefer to have maybe a couple of exhaust tips sticking out, but we're not going to get that. If I open up the boot, it's an electric tailgate. It's also an electronically moving parcel shelf cover. So that pulls back as you open up. 690 litres, massive, as some would say, me. And then also with the seats folded down, you're going to get nearly 2,000 litres of space. And you can release the seats right here from the back, which is very handy, and you get a continuous load floor. This is what you want from an estate car. Think of all of the things you could take to the tip in this. All of the items you could take on your caravan holiday. Lovely stuff. There's some good features in the boot. So you've got underfloor storage, a lot of it. There's actually a spare wheel well that isn't filled with a spare wheel, but it means you've got lots of storage under the false floor. There is a space under the false floor moving backwards, and it will fold down actually into the floor if you need a little bit more height in the boot. But I must say, there's so much room in here, I can't imagine you're going to need to do that very often. And with it raised, obviously, you get continuous loading over the lip here and over the back seats. You've got pockets on either side. They come with a little strap. You've got these fold-down hooks up here for hanging shopping up. You've got a 12-volt socket if you want to plug in a little vacuum cleaner or something like that. So it's everything you need from a large, practical car. But let's see if the seats are also everything you need. So here inside we've obviously got a fair few R-Line bits. So there's this blue piping around the seats, and they have a kind of cross-hatched pattern on them like you would find in a full-blown R car. Also little bits of Allen are strewn by your side bolsters to keep you in place better. But the main thing is there's just loads of room. This has a panoramic sunroof in it. I can still sit up straight. There's loads of width in the body of the car. Obviously space for 3. You might be better off with a big SUV. This centre seat is narrow. There's a big hump in the floor, but it's all nice and soft. But certainly 2 passengers back here, supremely comfortable. The centre armrest does actually fold down, and you do have some pop out, or well, it's a lid for cup holders that then also turns into a rest for your smartphone if you want to watch something while you're travelling, which is lovely. And this is also through loading, so if I just pop that down, now you could take this to the Alps and go skiing, which is the kind of thing I imagine people with big estate cars do. Other practicality, you've got 2 upper seat back pockets and 1 large lower seat back pocket on the backs of both of the seats. You've got a little readout here where you can control the temperature for the climate zone in the back seats, and 2 air vents and 2 USB-Cs. ISOFIX on these outer seats in the back here, though it's these pop-off plastic tabs. They do recess back rather than just coming away, so you won't lose them, which is good, but they do feel rather brittle. I don't know how well they'll last over time. Lots of lovely treatment on the doors. You've got this interesting blue dots as well as a blue pipeline, and then a large felt line door pocket with space for a water bottle, which is very handy. You also have retractable blinds, which are very luxurious, and it means that if you have any small children in the back, they will be protected from the blinding light of Sol Invictus. And it feels lovely and airy in here with this panoramic roof as well. But does it feel lovely and airy up front? Yeah, there's loads of room up here actually. I feel lovely and hunkered down and low and kind of cocooned by this car. It's a really nice feeling when you're used to driving a lot of SUVs and a lot of electric cars where you're raised off the floor slightly. Interior appointments, I'm going to start with the fact that the door cards are just slathered in Alcantara all the way along here, along with this blue piping which is continuing from the back and goes all the way around the dash. You've got the interesting dotted plastic motif going on as well to help elevate the cabin, and then you've got a lot of smart storage. So there's this kind of double fold back center area with your cup holders and a wireless charger as well as your charging ports. You've got 2 USB-Cs in there. There's a little space you can put your key in, because obviously this is keyless go. I've got a center opening or a bifolding center armrest storage area which has a little shelf in it for coins as well, and got a big old glove box, space in there for many maps. I don't unfortunately have a sunglasses holder, so that's marked down for VW there. Technology, I have a humongous touchscreen in here, absolutely colossal, and also a really large driver's display. This is VW's latest system. It's decently responsive and it's fully customizable. The map actually responds really, really quickly, and importantly, they have recognized that they made some missteps on the previous version of their infotainment. You now get your climate controls permanently affixed to the bottom of the screen. They're still digital buttons. They're not real buttons, but we're getting there. So you can at least always reach your climate controls, and the physical controls, or physical controls below, they're still touch sensitive haptic buttons, are illuminated importantly. And the steering wheel has proper buttons on it. So I've got radar cruise, and I've got my radio controls and my heated steering wheel button here on the steering wheel, and they all are real buttons. The steering wheel itself is very nice. I've got perforated leather and little grips coming out here. That feels nice and sporty. Fits along with the driving position being quite low. But does it drive sportily? Let's find out now. Okay, so driving the Volkswagen Passat estate. This one in particular is fitted with the 1.5 litre 4-cylinder Evo engine with a 48 volt mild hybrid system. It's giving us 150 PS and 250 Newton meters, 0 to 62 just over 9 seconds, which is acceptable, although I would prefer a little more power in a car like this. Now, I feel the main consideration when buying a big estate car like this is, can it do a family holiday? Is it a good tourer? And I've got to say, immediately I can tell that the ride, comfort and suspension in here is spot on. It's beautifully judged, because while I don't have like immaculate turning or anything, it doesn't roll too much in corners, but it smooths over bumps. The steering, while not particularly full of feeling, is nice and direct. And I do really like this steering wheel and just the way it's perforated where your hands go. That does feel very nice to me. And the seat position is fantastic. So this seat's kind of fully adjustable. I can pull out the lower squab, I can pump up the front to give myself a bucket seat, and I've got a massager, which is currently on, and that is lovely. And then, because this is a conventional estate car and this doesn't have a massive body, I've got good visibility. It is big. It's not the easiest car in the world to park. You do have parking sensors and a reversing camera. They all help a lot. The graphics on the reversing camera could be better, but it's functional. It'll work. Got a heads-up display as well as my digital gauge cluster. And then obviously, as I've mentioned, this massive screen in the center. The actual controls, other than the steering, they're nicely weighted, nicely responsive. put my foot down, I go, there's a kick down switch. This is a 7-speed DSG. VW are not making manual cars anymore, very sadly. They are doing automatics only. That's for economy reasons. I would say with personal preference, this hybrid system is good and it will get a bit of a move on. But I would personally prefer to have a more powerful engine. There's a 2 litre available now with 190 PS. Hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed, that there'll be a replacement for the Arteon R at some point. I think that'll be a very good Kaidi because this chassis is good. They set up the steering on the side of feel a little more. I think this would be a very, very, very good car. It's already a very good car, but it could be even better if they do that. So VW, please, R version. But the chassis itself hangs on nicely in a corner. It's nicely adjustable as well, and you just feel the benefit of having a vehicle that doesn't weigh 2 tons. You know, this is front wheel drive. I know it's not small, and obviously it's not the lightest car in the world, but it's not a big lumbering SUV, and you ride still good because your wheels aren't too big. You've got so much room, as much room as you would get in any SUV or crossover, but you've got a better looking body, you've got a better driving experience, and it's just better. Buy an estate, go and buy an estate. There aren't many left. You know, there's no Mondeo, there's no Toyota, not in this size class. There's a Peugeot, but it's pretty thin on the ground now. And it's still a really good example of what an estate can be and should be. So I think if you're considering a family vehicle, you got a couple of kids, then it's worth looking at one of these Passats. But let's go back and do a proper conclusion. So, what do I think of the VW Passat? Well, I love the fact that in this day and age, there is still a mainstream manufacturer making a big, comfortable estate car, and that's really what it is. Great, big, comfortable estate car. Loads of room for people, loads of room for your stuff. Love it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. You'll find all the links to all of our social medias down in the description. You'll also find 2 ways you can support the channel. So we have channel merch that I'm wearing currently, and we also have channel memberships. So please go and do one or all of those things, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.